Hello fashion lovers, you're welcome to today's tutorial. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a bagged out seam, as you can see in this video. Please, if you're interested, keep on watching, like, share my video, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Let's get to work. So here I'm drawing my start line, and I'm inputting my shoulder measurement plus half an inch seam allowance for joining, and I'm inputting my waist measurement, my hip, and my 2 inches for my hem allowance. So I'm going down by 1 inch for my shoulder slant, and I'm connecting my armhole together with a straight line so I can get a perfect armhole for my client. So for the neck width, I'm taking 3 inches for the neck width, I beg your pardon, then 1 inch for the back neck depth, then 5.5 inches for the front neck depth. If you're on the slim side, please use 2.5 inches for your neck width, okay? And your front neck depth is totally depends on you. So here I'm just coming in by 0.75 for my armhole, and I'm connecting like so. I'll be using this armhole for both the front and the back piece. So I'm indicating my measurements here. Quarter of my bust measurement and half an inch is allowance, and 1 inch for my side seam. For the waist, I'm inputting my waist measurement, 1 inch for ease allowance and 1 inch for seam allowance. On my hip, I'm doing the same thing, 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for side seam. So I'm joining all these points together like so. On the hem, I'm going up by 1.5 inches, and I'm connecting like so. If you want it very curvy, you can go up by 2.5 inches, but I don't want it very curvy. So I'm connecting my shoulder slant to the neck width, and I'm done with my pattern. So I'm going to cut this out now. So I'll be cutting my back piece first. You can see how I arrange my fabric. This fabric has patterns, so you must make sure that all the patterns align. Okay, so this is my back piece, and I'm indicating the wrong side. Don't forget to do that as well. So this is my front piece, and I want it to align with the back piece that I just cut out. You can see how I'm arranging it. So I'm cutting out the front neck width, and I'm going to cut this out. After cutting this out, I'm going to slash the front piece open like so. Here I'm taking 2 inches for the neck all the way down to the hem. This is just for decorative purpose. If you don't want to put this on yours, you can as well skip this part. So I'm going to pin this down on my fabric now. And then I'll cut this out once I'm done using my pins. Please excuse my mannequin. I'll slash this open as well in the front part because I want 2 piece, because the front jacket is open. So I'm indicating the wrong side as well. So I've gone ahead to cut out my lining piece. I made my lining piece 1 inch shorter than my main fabric. So here I'm just cutting out a yoke for my back piece. Please excuse the noise on the background, it's a bit windy. So I'm going down by 7 inches and then I'm connecting like so. You can give this back yoke any shape or any design you like. So I'm going to cut this out now. And I'll continue to shape this until I am satisfied with what I have. So I've gone ahead to press 1/2 inch on my fabric, and you can see I used stay on my yoke and then I ironed 1/2 inch all the way round. So here I'll be using my hemming gum to place this down on my fabric. Note that I did not iron the front of this blue fabric because that will also be sewn into the lining. So it's just the edge that I ironed down by 1/2 inch, as you can see. So after using my hemming gum, I'm going to iron this down before taking it to my sewing machine. It's better you use your hemming gum for it instead of using pins. With hemming gum, you are sure that it's gonna lay flat and it will make the job easy for you. So this is the reason why I used my hemming gum instead of using pins for this part. So I'll do the same thing for the other side as well. You can see I've ironed stay on my fabric, on my main fabric alone, not on my lining piece. So I'm going to sew half and sew very close to the edge, as you can see. Then I'll join the shoulders using half an inch seam allowance. Then I will join the sides like so. For the lining piece, for the back piece, I'm just going to align the neckline like so. And I'll also use my hemming gum to make sure that it's stable on the lining piece before going to my sewing machine to sew this down. At this point, if you have a label you want to attach to your lining, you can sew down your lining on your yoke first before attaching the yoke to the lining piece. So I'll give this a good press. And then I'll take it to my sewing machine and sew down the yoke very close to the edge. I will sew down the shoulders of my front piece, and then I will sew down the sides using 1 inch seam allowance, and I will show you what I have after joining them together. So here I'm done joining the shoulder. You can see I did this separately. I'm sewing my lining piece separately. I'm sewing the main piece together. You can see I joined them separately, lining to lining, main bodies to the back bodies. So and I'm going to iron each step of the way. This is very, very important. You have to iron each step of the way. So I'll measure the armhole now and use the measurement I get to cut out the sleeve for this jacket. So here I cut out a basic sleeve. You can see that my sleeve is 1 inch shorter than the lining piece. My lining piece is 1 inch shorter than the main sleeve. I beg your pardon. So I'm going to join the sleeves separately, lining separately, and attach to lining. Now I will join the main fabric sleeve together and I will sew it to the main jacket. As you can see in this video, I've joined the sleeve of the lining to the lining. I've joined the sleeve of the main jacket to the jacket. So I'm going to sew the neckline together like so, and then I will top stitch the neckline. As you can see, I'm done joining the neckline together and I've top stitched the neckline. Now I'm going to sew down the hem of my lining piece and the hem of my main fabric together like so. So I measured 5 inches here and I sewed down. When I got to that point, I stopped and I skipped, and I'll continue joining all the way to the end. You need to join the hem of your jacket first before doing any other thing. You can see I'm done sewing. I left that space open because that's what we'll use to finish our jacket. You can see. So now I'm going to sew half an inch on the front side of my jacket all the way down to the end. So please make sure you sew from the neckline down to the end. As you can see, this is what I have. I'll do the same thing on the other side. So now I'm going to bring out my sleeves from the opening I left earlier. I'll bring out the jacket. I'll turn everything inside out so I can arrange my sleeve. You can see my lining sleeve and my main sleeve. So now you can see how I brought out the sleeve. You can see, just bring everything out from the lining piece like so. So I'm going to pin the side seam of my lining and my main fabric together like so. I'll use my pin to pin this down. And I'll do the same thing for the other sleeve. After doing this, I'm going to bring the sleeve out from the opening I left under at the hem of the jacket. I'm going to bring it out like so, as you can see what I'm doing. So now I'm going to remove my pin. and turn the lining to the right side of my sleeve. You can see what I just did. I'll turn it right sides facing each other, and I'll pin everything down like so. So now I'm done pinning the sleeve. I'm going to put it back inside and bring out the sleeve. I'm doing this to ensure that my lining piece is not twisted. So I'm going to pass my hand. So now I'm okay with what I have. You need to pass your hand inside the sleeve so that that will enable you to know if your lining is twisted inside. So now I'm going to bring out the sleeve from that opening that we have, and I'll sew the sleeve down with 1/2 inch all the way round, and I'll do the same thing for the other sleeve. So now I'm done joining my sleeves, as you can see. So I'm going to give this a good press. So for the edge, I'm just using my screwdriver to make sure the edge is pointed, and then I'll continue pressing my jacket. So it's very important you iron your jacket. Ironing is an important part of sewing. It makes your work neat. You can see what we have. So I'm just giving this a very, very good press. So now I'm done with the ironing. I'm using my needle and thread to make a ladder stitch. So I'm going to use a ladder stitch to complete my dress. With this ladder stitch method, a ladder stitch is an invisible stitch on an outfit. So by the time I'm done using a ladder stitch, the needle the thread will not show on both the right side and the wrong side. If you want me to drop a tutorial on how to make a ladder stitch, please drop your comment on the comment section, and I'm going to do an intensive tutorial on how to go about this ladder stitch. So now I'm done with my ladder stitch, and I'm going to press this again. So this is the finished piece of our jacket. I hope you like what you see. Please don't forget to drop a thumbs up.